You're great.
Yeah, it was cool listening to you speak. It's gonna be a good time.
No. When I went there, first time I went to these guys, they gave me a hotel and stuff. And I went in and it's like, they told me it's like, it sounds like a very good bar. That point there, rules of what you can do is very loose, to the extent that I coming back
Tim, if I could ask you to just say who you are and why you're here, acting like this is not the end, but it's the beginning, but just to establish who you are and what you're doing here this weekend.
Right, I perform under the name Zamora, the Torture King, and I'm here this weekend, part of the Sideshow Gathering. I do an act which will be called a fakir act or a torture act, which I've studied quite extensively, and showing some of the feats, but also some of the historical background of this and where this act comes from, because this type of act has become entertainment. I have become entertainment on circus sideshows, but it also comes from a Middle Eastern culture and Indian culture, and where it all comes from, people don't really know about. And so I'm showing something both entertaining and educational, I hope, this gathering.
What was the first thing that turned you on to this art form?
I'd read about in a book that was actually in my elementary school library. It had descriptions of all kinds of bizarre feats around the world, putting people in India putting the skewers through their cheeks, people in sideshows swallowing swords, and things like that. And I found this quite fascinating. I said to myself, I want to go out and see this stuff. This is something that looks like fun and to watch. But found out that this just doesn't happen anymore, the type of things being described in this book. So I still was very intrigued by it, and I'm the type of guy, when I get something I want to know about, I really go out and find out about it to the extent that I really, find out, like putting myself completely into it. And over many years, I accumulated knowledge and began to teach myself some of these feats. And it kind of became, it was a weird hobby for a long time, and it got more and more in the forefront of my life till I'm making my living at it now for over a decade.
What was the first thing you did to yourself?
Some of the early things I did to myself, I took like just sewing pins in my flesh of my skin of my arm. I did fire eating when I was very young. I learned fire eating from, among other sources, from a youth circus in Washington State where I grew up, the Wenatchee Youth Circus. Some people there showed me a few pointers, and I had other information as well, so I was doing that when I was a teenager. And walking on broken glass I've been doing, but everything I kind of built up and learned more, and the more I learned, I went more and more intense. So you see what I do today is probably more extreme, to use that buzzword, extreme, than you'd see in most sideshow performers, but I certainly didn't start out that way.
So you're carrying on an ancient tradition.
Yes, I'm carrying on an ancient tradition, and the sources I look for my inspiration is that I will go and find stuff from other countries. People still perform some of these feats, sometimes in a public square, sometimes in the context of a religious ceremony. So I go kind of deeper into the research. And many people, when they research this type of material, will just go look into the historic circus carnival sideshows and stop there. But I go way back to where it all begins and keep looking around there, going for kind of the root of the whole material.
So you really are like a really unique. Is he really making too much noise over there?
Well, it sounds like
there's a convention going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not. It's okay. All right.
The illusion of
Yeah,
full
it's
house
illusion.
by one person. Okay.
One person's making all that. I can get him there. Well, anyway, I guess if I guess the thing is, we actually, here this was a kind of a big event. You were part of the Sword Swallow. So
Yeah.
what did you need to be here for this? I mean, what was was there a real particular? Is this like a kind of a convention of everybody that really is on the same kind of wavelength?
Well, let me tell you something interesting. Is years and years ago, I thought to myself, well, wouldn't it be neat if they had like Sideshow convention and they had a roast for, let's say, Ward Hall. This would be like, that'd be really funny, get everybody together and roast somebody. Who would it be? Well, of course, Ward Hall. I thought to myself, that'd be fun, but how would it ever happen? How would you ever get those people in the same room? Who would set it up and how would they set it up? It's something that never would happen. So when I got the email from Frank who put the event on, it was like, do you want to be a part of this? And it's like, yeah. And the fact that Frank has done these tattoo conventions, it wasn't something he's just doing for the first time, though this is the Sideshow thing is the first time. He has the basic structure of it now, so it was going to actually be able to pull it off. It's not somebody just trying to throw something they'd never done before together for the first time. So I jumped at the chance to be a part of it, and getting all these people in the same room, it's pretty amazing. I know there's some personality clashes. There's a little bit of snarling here and there, but so far nothing has really exploded, and it's good to see that even though we're all kind of competing with each other, we also are able to get along on another level.
What do you recommend for somebody who might want to try something? I mean, is there any kind of precaution what kind of inspiration, or can you get? Or what do you want to say to somebody who might just kind of follow your own path? Or
well, one thing you must realize is if somebody's wants to be a Sideshow performer, it's kind of difficult. There's more to it than just doing the stunts. You can learn the stunts, and it's not going to make you do a good show. You've got to learn to have that show be entertaining, how to entertain people. And even then, if you don't know the aspects of getting it booked, you're still not going to have anything going. Right now, this is kind of a weird market. There's a resurgence. There's a resurgence of interest in Sideshow, but at the same time, there aren't that many venues still for all the performers. So it's tough competition out there, and you really have to be on your toes if you want to survive. It's like any other business. The show business and the business part is as important as the stunts.
And you were with Jim Rose, right? Or were you with?
I was one of the original members of the Jim Rose Circus Sideshow when that show formed in Seattle. It was a bunch of people with similar interests but different aspects of that sideshow that got together. And we toured Canada. We got on Lollapalooza, and that was like the big break. It was like the perfect timing, apparently. We got kind of nationally known from there, and went on. After a while, I left and did my own show, and kind of had a little bit of a feud with Jim Rose. He wasn't happy I left, and that's kind of simmered down.
Well, we won't include that.
Yeah.
We actually, has anybody ever fainted, or are there any reactions of, what are some reactions from people?
The show is shocking.
I can't take it.
Jeff, don't worry about it. He'll say something.
Okay, the show can be shocking, but it's shocking fun. I say it's the same type of fun if you go to like a scary movie, if you go on a roller coaster. People are going to scream and have all these reactions, but they'll get right back and do it again, and come and see it again, tell their friends about it. It's if people faint, but strangely, it's kind of an experience they wouldn't get from seeing, let's say, well, maybe from Tom Jones, but any other type of entertainment. You're not going to go to a movie and faint. You're not going to watch cable TV and end up being so overwhelmed that you faint. One thing is the show is live. The Sideshow is always meant to be seen live and up close. Even though you have it on TV, it's pretty cool, but it really doesn't compare to a live experience. So there's some people who have certain phobias. I kind of design it, the show that I do, to a level that it builds up, and if there's something they can't take, then I tell them to turn away, watch people watching the show, because one part of the Sideshow is the way people react can be incredibly amusing. You'd really get people reacting. I mean, their whole body reacting, and that's something you don't get with a lot of entertainment. People just sit there So you can turn and get views on camera if you're doing this of people watching the show. That's half the show right there, and it's the part I get to see from the stage that the audience doesn't get, so they get to amuse me.
I think we got it. And can I just get you to do an ID into the camera?
An ID?
This for Shocked and Amazed TV. How would you like to?
That's good.
Yeah.
Just take a baby. Just take a baby step that way. Sorry, just that way.
Oh, sorry.
Right there.
So we're gonna have you. You're gonna do it into the camera, you're gonna just do it into the camera. Identify yourself. You can ad lib whatever you want.
Right.
Say you're watching Shocked and Amazed.
All right.
Hold on. Here we go. Okay.
This is Zamora the Torture King. You're watching Shocked and Amazed.
Want to do one more? Great.
Okay. This is Zamora the Torture King. Stick around for Shocked and Amazed. I learned that from some TV program.
Oh, great. This is great. What's that? Too much? Okay. Your speed?
Yeah, Rob, give me.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Here we go, Rob.
I'm ready.
Speed.
Action.
Action.
Click. This is Zamora the. Not quite again. This is Zamora the Torture King. You're watching Shocked and Amazed TV. Again.
Well, yeah, one more. Just hold the gaze in the camera.
Okay. This is Zamora the Torture King. Stick around for Shocked and Amazed.
Sorry, one more time.
Got it.
He
Ready
Rob said
again?
something was wrong.
Okay.
Here we go. This is Zamora the Torture King. Stick around for Shocked and Amazed.